US?
I'm in Bombay, India.
Cool.
I'm in Paris, France.
Maybe just pick the next person to go after you got. So, Stefan, who would you choose?
Well, Angela.
You're muted.
Can't hear you. You're muted, Angela.
I'm in Berlin, and I choose Tam.
And I lived in Paris for 12 years, but now I'm in Bordeaux. And this July, I'm moving to Lisbon. So also quitting France this year. I heard, Nate, I didn't hear you. Did you go?
I'm in Oakland, California, and I'll pass it to Bear.
I'm in Edmonton, Alberta, in Canada. And I'll pass it to Strata Trader.
I'm in Canada's capital, Ottawa.
Nice. Okay. Well, you know what? Why don't we go ahead and get started? It's 5 minutes after the hour, and we'll jump in. And what I'm going to do is share the screen just to show the. I'm going to go to our proposal. Might as well just do that. Before we dive into this, I do want to say that TEC's Twitter is on fire right now. People are super excited about this Gitcoin round, the token engineering round for Gitcoin. So, we haven't even announced the details yet, but just the mere fact that we're doing this has gotten people really excited. So that's cool. That's really encouraging. And actually, that's part of this proposal too. Hey, Marathon Mind, welcome. Hey, Livy, welcome.
Hello.
So what I thought we would do is, Angela and I were talking beforehand. We thought it might be a good idea to just kind of provide just like a quick overview of this proposal, what we're trying to do here, and then just really open it up to questions and answers. Does that sound like a good plan for everybody? Y'all on board for that? Okay. So, Angela, would you like to go first? You want to do that?
Yeah, let me give you some context and walk you through these two main parts of the proposal. So the TE grants round as step one, happening in April, and the AI-powered TE April to July. So first, some context. Some of the people in the call we know very well, and you know us since the very early days of TC. Might be relevant for those who maybe are not here since the beginning. I founded Token Engineering TE Academy as an experiment back in 2020 together. First courses together with Shabnam. Many people in these courses still around, and I wanted to focus on token engineering. This was my main motivation. So let's explore what's doable. I think it's super needed. I was running meetups since 2018 on this topic, and this complex systems engineering got me excited. And since there was no university to study, we just thought, okay, then we have to start an academy to enable people to do proper token engineering. And since then, we have been able to attract students. We have built TE fundamentals, and this was pretty successful. However, I would not claim to build up very sophisticated organizational structures or infrastructure when it comes to governance. It's just a straightforward private company. This was, to me, the appropriate things to get things going. But I know that this is not the long-term best solution for an academy. And on the other hand, we have TEC, TE Commons. You have built, and I was part of it, but let's separate these two entities when we discuss it. you've built such awesome infrastructure, governance, policies, and culture in this community. So it was, to me, totally obvious to have a conversation with TEC to finally bring these two things together, because I think this is so complementary and it makes total sense. And we were thinking about joint activities and leveraging our assets for a while. And now with the Gitcoin pilot, it was so obvious to start bringing what we've built together. Number one, the TEC token, here for distributing funds in a dedicated token engineering round. I'm super excited to see this, and I'm super confident that it will be possible to onboard so many more matchmaking funders with TEC in the loop. And then for the curation, number one, for the curation, and number two, for the projects we have in these rounds, the NFTs make a difference, because via the certificates of students, via the NFTs for course authors, we can secure to have proper curation in from contributions to other filtering mechanisms to boost, to not only run great funding rounds, also to make sure that we select the very best proposals. And this will have an impact on what we can create, right? With great selection, we'll have great successful projects in these rounds that will provide a benchmark for more projects, future projects, etc. So bring together these two assets, the NFTs reflecting expertise and the Gitcoin Alloy infrastructure to distribute funds. For the first time, we think we can close the loop and leverage these assets in a very smart way. And this is one of the graphics you find, and we can discuss this in detail later. And the AI-powered token engineering is something very super new. Of course, you have been observing ChatGPT, now ChatGPT 4, and no doubt there are many conversations in our space how we could use AI for several steps in the token engineering process that makes it so much easier to simulate, so much easier to capture human language descriptions of systems in maps, also to run scenarios, to compare, draw conclusions. So it's a very powerful opportunity. And no doubt we'll see token engineering services and tools growing. And typically, these tools are proprietary. So you can today, there is a range of tool and service vendors, consultancies, and they charge high rates for their services, and they have tools in place. And they are closed source and not accessible for the community. And I think we have a great chance to change this. And ultimately, it would be, to me, the vision of AI-powered tools we can build and grow and govern as a commons is powerful in so many dimensions. It's powerful because it will progress the whole field. It's powerful because I think AI needs governance. AI should be not black box reserved for experts. It's something we have to develop with a broad community, taking in many perspectives. And that's the second part of this proposal. We'd like to get things going. We see a great opportunity to raise funds together and then from scratch, for the first time, develop this in a joint effort to secure, leverage again our assets, build a proof of concept, get great partners on board, and make sure we can capture the value created in the community as commons. That's an overview on what this proposal is all about. I hope I can, or goal was to keep it short, but of course feel free to ask any questions you might have.
And I might just add just like one or two thoughts on that, which is I think that, as we're looking at how these entities come together, the academy and the commons come together, it's going to be absolutely critical that we do so in a way that's sustainable. The commons was generously funded. Like we did a great job of raising some significant money to support the field of token engineering. And if you look at our common pool, what you see is that over time it's just gradually been depleting. And right now we don't have a way of replenishing that reserve, or not the reserve, the common pool. So in this, in particular, the AI part of this, we think that there's an opportunity here to actually have a commons owned and commons governed set of tools that are AI based. It's basically kind of like AI harnessed by a commons. What would that look like? What would that look like if this were really held on behalf of the field of token engineering, rather than just having some giant corporation gobble this up, right? Because we really do think that there's a window that's opening up right now. If we move quickly, that we'll be able to get this for the common good. So that's why we're pushing hard on this, and that's why we are, you can see even in this proposal, there's kind of two steps that are going on simultaneously. This was actually kind of a marvel of engineering in and of itself, just to try to get this proposal together, because it's very complex. There's a lot of moving pieces that are happening here, but you can see that what we're trying to do is take our commitment to public goods funding and make that more sustainable. We're basically trying to make it so that we're not just taking funds out of the common pool and using that fund all of the common goods, the public goods on our own. We're basically using that as a catalyst for getting other people to contribute to the field of token engineering. And the hope is, and we were actually getting some indications that this is going to work, but the hope is that we will get other players like ENS and maybe Ethereum Foundation to come in and be matching partners, so that we can really make that part of our mission be self-sustaining and basically have it spin up, so that the commons is basically acting as a catalyst for generating that kind of public goods funding, and then we can use more of our funding itself to create this great opportunity. Now, there's still a lot of questions and things that we've got to answer, but these are the first steps. So I'll leave it there too. And yeah, should we just open it up for some questions? Comments? Maybe because people might be a little bit shy on this, I'm going to ask that, the emojis that are down below. I'm just curious, like, level of obviously interest. People are interested, otherwise you wouldn't be here. But like, yeah, fire, show some fire or something if you think this is an exciting direction that we should be headed in. Okay, yeah, Tam.
I'll do fire too, but I thought I would also just give voice to my fire. I just want to say that I know the work that's gone into this. It's been many months and a lot of diligent effort by other people than me. So I'm on the sidelines watching it, and I got to say, I just want to say that I'm extremely impressed by how thoughtful the whole process has been and the end results. To be honest, the AI part was a very current and timely addition, and I think one of the most exciting parts of this, relevant to now, relevant to token engineering, relevant to the situation in the world, and especially what Angela's just said, the governance of AI and how we can do that responsibly. I think a lot more people should maybe be experimenting with this as well, because it's here to stay. So yeah, I just want to commend Gideon, Angela, Livia, and the other people that have worked on this. But full support. I mean, I couldn't support this more, to be honest with you. I don't have so many questions, but maybe I could think of a question to ask that other people might be interested in too.
I could maybe like point out some of my experiences using ChatGPT, like with the token engineering work that I'm doing. I feel like there are many sections where I was able to speed up my workflow, especially, I mean, the very obvious ones are like, I guess, explaining to the clients that how stakeholder analysis is done or incentive structure analysis. There you could just get these very quick write-ups by just writing points and then get formed. Those are the obvious ones. But I feel like with GPT-4, my brain just started flowing that honestly, if it can convert images, it can understand what's there on an image and convert it to potentially code. You could actually use it to convert visual maps, like simple visual maps or simple stock and flow diagrams, directly into CAD code. And I'm pretty sure this is possible because the kind of data science work that I've already done with ChatGPT is, I mean, I've really sped up my workflow. I've written a couple of articles too where quite complicated code was, I could just explain, hey, this is the stuff I want to do, and it could just churn out the Python code that I needed. It could also, if I gave it an example about how I could do a parameter sweep or Monte Carlo runs, like the analysis of my model, I could just type out that, hey, this is how I did it in my previous, this is how I normally do it with my CAD code. This is how I do a parameter sweep. I could just now write on text that, hey, I want to run a parameter sweep on these 3 variables and generate like these many simulations. And without even knowing coding, it would just give me the entire code, copy paste it, and I could start like analyzing my model without touching like Python. It was very fascinating because all of that, the model could be built by someone, but people who are doing analysis need not understand CAD. They could just type it out on ChatGPT, which is very fascinating. I feel like there is definitely a lot of scope to bringing down the barrier that is currently exists in analyzing our models and building our models. I feel like that's where I could clearly see GPT-4 coming into play.
Thanks for sharing that. That's really cool. And actually, thanks for going into details on the forum post too. That was cool to see that. Yeah, I appreciated that. I'm going to share, there's an article that I just ran across last night, or night before last. Oops, that's not what I want. Hold on just one second. Let me see if I can find it again. This is about what Microsoft is doing right now with a security copilot. And I was watching this. I mean, I was reading this, and I just kept thinking, like, you know, just swap out the word security for token engineering, and there's kind of an interesting opportunity here. Hold on just a sec. I'm going to paste it in. That's it right there. That Verge article. It's worth reading that because I think it kind of hints at like how you could use these tools to solve a specific set of problems with this kind of copilot model, right? Yeah, and it just seems to me like, you know, because CAD and Token Spice and, you know, whatever next set of tools come out, that there is this window right now where these things are just so hard to use. And so that, you know, like Roro, as you're saying, it's like, how do we, you know, to accelerate this, we could either train a whole bunch of people how to use these really difficult tools or use something like this.
Yeah, and here I'd like to ask or add that to me, the whole creative process and reasoning about the complex systems you are building and the interconnectedness and drawing conclusions is, at least in parts, it's creativity. And building a model is rather the opposite of it. You have to bring it down to, okay, what are the minimum required to get to a result. You never can model reality. You have to narrow down your model to something that is simulatable. It's about computation, it's about performance, and this of course limits the, or to me, feels sometimes like a break in the process of reasoning about systems. You have to deal with it, you have to accept it. Now with what Rohan just described, how we could collaborate with AI in creating code would decrease let's say, the efforts invested in programming just to land at something that is simulatable, and would increase our bandwidth for reasoning. That's what I'm aiming for. I wouldn't want that token engineers are just blindly hoping that AI is a better programmer, or AI can help us in drawing conclusions if we are just got lost in the complexity of our systems. That's not the goal. And this is what matters to me, and this is what I hope we can achieve together with our students and with the graduates and with the whole community to make the most of both of artificial intelligence and human intelligence, and not just bring it down to a copy paste or push the buttons, humans to push the buttons thing. Yeah, just to add this here.
If I can add something here, like I do feel like my initial issue with CatCat also was that I could find some models on GitHub, but I didn't really understand what's really going on. And the second I started using ChatGPT, I could copy paste certain sections of code and ask ChatGPT to explain what's happening. Now, all the complicated code that isn't being documented, there aren't comments explaining what they're doing. We can immediately document all those models. We can, there's so much we can do to actually educate people about how these models are running already. I feel like even without GPT-4, this can be done with ChatGPT. So I feel like just the fact that all of us are here and excited about this is great, because I think already we can do a lot using AI for token engineers.
I have some question for you, Angela and Gideon. It's a great proposition, and I understand why the artificial intelligence assistant is getting such a great enthusiasm from every member here. But there are a lot more in this proposition. My first question will be for this project. I am not really used to the way that Token Engineering Commons is organized. So I don't know what you plan to do to achieve the goal to have that. So, I read the provision. I see that there is a group forming for that. So kind of entrepreneurship group that will lead the project. I also see that TE Academy, where I'm more used to the way that things are done, is also in a way structured like an entrepreneurship module on building courses and so on. How about the merger between Token Engineering Academy, TEC, and this project? How do you plan to structure everything in an intelligible way so that the community and people that want to participate can see who is in charge and what are the thing that is discussed with these people and the thing that are discussed with these other people and so on, the structural and the organizational way to pilot that. The AI assistant project and also the TE Academy that could be merged in TEC.
I start, Gideon, and then feel free to make comments. Okay, so first, the AI-powered TE is a proof of concept. So aim is here to form a small team that is capable to produce results, and at the same time, in parallel, to find partners and raise funds in order to do more, because the July goal is to have a proof of concept. And then, based on this proof of concept, scale up, do more, get more people on board, whatever is the potential then that we found until July. We see our roles for painting the big picture, like TE Academy is bringing the token engineering part on board and our connection to existing and future partners. We did fundraising for a while now and worked with a lot of Web3 protocols already, and I'll be happy to get these partners on board and more for this proof of concept. And people like Rohan to steer and explore the potential and scope out the proof of concept. And as I said in the forum, we should aim for, my perspective, 3 aspects. It should, the proof of concept should prove the value for token engineers. So, for example, accelerate the work of a token engineer, prove that this is valuable for projects, drawing conclusions, and the third one, that it's progressing the whole field. So this would be proof of concept. Now, this is doesn't really involve anything with respect to the merger. However, a proof of concept is easy to run as 2 separate entities, but we'll come across many very important questions, like how to capture value in the community without building something proprietary. Here we are talking about access rights, licenses, revenue streams, how to integrate TEC. And this is something that is, of course, way easier to do as one organization than 2. And here's how the merger, if we find out that there's a great route to secure what we need to secure for TEC and build one organization, then it would probably a perfect moment to do that.
I'll just add on a couple thoughts. But one thing I have to say right now is that, Angela, I just heard that Optimism grant came through, and the Academy just got about $126,000 US. Congratulations.
Yeah.
Congratulations. I mean,
my
oh my
God.
gosh.
That's big news.
Campbell.
Ooh. Oh, wow.
Let me put the link, because I mean,
Let me check.
Here's the link. This is going to totally derail this call, but
oh my God.
So yeah, congratulations! Oh, this is so exciting! So exciting!
Yeah, really.
Wow!
Wow.
So
Honestly, I just have to say, I feel like celebrating for everyone right now too, especially Angela. That's such great news! Congratulations!
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah, this is amazing. Of course, this is a huge backwinds, tailwinds. Yeah. Oh my God, that's amazing.
And a huge load off, I'm sure too.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks everyone for supporting us in the promotion and spreading the word. Thank you.
So exciting and so well deserved. I mean, think about like all the work you've put into this. Just you. I mean, I'm not even talking about all the other people involved, but just you personally. It's really well deserved.
Thank you.
Great. Yeah. Woo! Wow. I kind of don't even want to talk about the other stuff now because that's so cool. But it almost derails from the significance of that. But I think, actually, I believe in synchronicities. I'm a big believer in synchronicity. I think it's so cool that we got that news right at this moment. I mean, Stefan, to go back to your question, I think the honest truth is that we have some notions about like how we're gonna structure this. Like the near term part is a lot clearer. It's like there's this workshop. We'll have a team that will be set up that will be charged with pulling the proof of concept together. I anticipate that Angela will be driving a lot of that. That's my guess. But we got to look at all of these pieces. I think the longer term thing is like, before we were looking for how we were going to paint this narrative. Like, what does this look like as a joint entity? And I think the AI thing, it presents a really interesting opportunity where you think about like an AI that is harnessed by a community and governed by a community, where the TEC is kind of providing the kind of the governance structure and methods for engaging that community and helping to strengthen the governance and helping to make sure that this thing is secure from just an extraction perspective, like making sure that the value is not extracted. And the Academy has like this incredible network. I mean, the TEC has a great network too. But in terms of the people who are actually learning this stuff, like the possibilities for generating feedback loops, because that's what this is, right? We're creating feedback loops, learning feedback loops, but then also token engineering value feedback loops. So that's what we've got to bring together. And that's going to be some work. So I think we would both be not being true if we said that we have all that figured out, because we haven't. But this provides a really nice catalyst to figure it out.
Yeah, I'm sorry to bring this serious subject of organization when we should celebrate. Just congratulations, Angela. Yeah, my question was more, okay, just now, Token Engineer Academy has workflows that are just working quite well. And if there are projects with both communities that will have a common interest on those projects, we should think of tools to enable the members of one community that don't know how the other community is working and the process and so on, to just grab them in a transparent and explicit way, rather than just don't know how it's done, or to have to put in place a big onboarding process that maybe we don't have the time to build. It just more on this perspective. Have you thought of tools to enable people to just understand how it's working, how it's structured, the different process and project in TEC? As I understand, TE Academy will be one of these projects in the near future because of the merge. I was just wondering if you have some path to do that, or if we could work out some proposition on our side in TE Academy, because we work already on this subject a little bit. If you are interested in knowing more about that, maybe.
So I would say that this was really the first step. This proposal is kind of the first step to very pragmatically start to move things in this direction. And so there's been probably, what, Angela, like 3 months worth of work, actually longer than that, because Livia was talking with Angela about this a while back, and there's been a bunch of work. But the hard part about the kind of the organizational integration, that's still to come. Like we haven't gotten to that yet. We don't want to get too far ahead of the communities on that until it's like one step at a time. And so the challenge, I think, and Angela, I'd love to hear your perspective on this too, but I think the challenge is we've got to move quickly on this AI opportunity and not get too hung up, and then move deliberately on the kind of the merging of these two entities. And that takes a little bit of time. So that's the tension that we're struggling with, but I'm confident. Actually, Angela and I have been working together pretty closely over the last 2 months, and it's been great. So I'm confident that we'll figure it out.
Yeah, of course, but it's not a measure of you two, it's a measure of two organizations.
Yeah, I'd like to add on that. Stefan is pushing me, and rightly so. Angela, you have to think about, and this was prior he even have heard about plans for a merger. You have to think about the organizational structure and the future of TE Academy. And I said, yes, that's true. I didn't give it too much thought, and I don't even think that I'm super good at it. But I know that this will only be sustainable if we find the right structure for it. And actually, I don't know how we can shape it, but I would not, maybe what we find along the proof of concept when it comes to how can we best, I mean, one question will be how can we capture the value? This is the token engineering part, but the organizational structure has to underpin the activities then. And I guess we can derive from the proof of concept, we can derive insights on how the future structure might look like. It might be something like TE Academy, TEC plus managing AI. So I guess there'll be new elements to consider. But I'm totally pro. The organizational structure matters, and I think we can bring. I guess we have learned a lot about organizational structures on both ends, and let's take these learnings into account and get it to the next stage.
Yeah. I don't know if you have had the time, Angela, to look at the paper I sent you last week, I think, about the way that we could put the foundation of agile structure, not ideal structure that could be changed every 6 months because the projects are changing and so on, but agile structure that could be what, in fact, a community like TE Academy and TE Commons maybe need. I have some experience in adapting holacracy to association kind of environment, and I think it's quite suitable, but it's not okay, we choose between different type of organization, this one, and we stick to it. No, it's more research and kind of action to find, to tune the way that is best for the people, the members of the communities. Just like the parameters of a token system can be adjusted, I think that the organizational structure and can also be adjusted over time, but through process that can already be tested on a small scale before putting everyone in.
So let me just jump in for a sec here, Stefan, because I think that you'll actually be very interested in what we're doing in just this coordination team here in the TEC. It's very similar in some ways to what you're talking. Did you say holacracy? Is that what you said? Yeah. So if you look at the way we're structured, we are very role based. Like we have it down to that kind of modularity structure. So Bear, who is on the call, has been, you can see his leaves thing there, Bear 100, has been driving that aspect of it. And that's like a big part of the way that we're organized. If you look at even in the budget that's referenced in the proposal, it's broken out by these roles, and we all have these like very modularly defined roles. And then just yesterday, actually, Isaac, who's also on the call, and I were talking about how we shift our project management over to Agile. And so what we're looking at is actually bringing those two very things that you're talking about together, right? So into a structure so how do, because there's some tension between these two things, right? I used to run an organization where we tried to do holacracy, or a pre version of holacracy, and actually met with the holacracy folks, and it was a lot of work. So it's not an easy thing to do. I can speak from personal experience.
Yeah, and what I was proposing is, for example, to try to use some software like Sobol or Glassfrog, even to just map the organization and try to just explicit processes, so that people like me who only know the token engineering academy side of the ecosystem just don't get lost with the other side, and vice versa.
Yeah, that's great. And the other thing I'll say is, not to take up too much time on this, but we also have some people out there like Michael Zargam, who's been thinking a lot about how these kind of value flows interact with organizational design. And I know that he's very interested, and I mean, he's very busy. But this problem, I bet you this is near to his heart, and I bet you he'd be willing to kind of throw some time at helping us figure that out. Not to speak on his behalf, of course, but. So yeah, this is going to take, I mean, I guess maybe one way of saying this is like, this cannot be all Angela and Gideon, or even just the people on this call. Like, this is going to be all hands on deck to make this work. This really is going to take both communities, and actually even bigger than just the people who are here today in these communities. So are there any other questions or comments before because this was originally just set up for 30 minutes, but I think it's important to make space if there are questions or comments that people have additionally.
Yeah, I do have one, just in the fact that speaking of the token utility proposals for the TEC, considering this is to be a particular really important engine for the TEC economy and how we move forward. Is there like outside of the use cases that you have articulated within this proposal, the overall vision for the TEC token use in the TE Academy? Is there anything that is going to be like the focus to work on prioritized, or what we can expect to see right away in terms of the utility for the token?
Okay, first, we'll get things going pretty quickly with the Gitcoin grants. So number one, Gideon, correct me if I'm wrong, the grants funding will be distributed as TEC tokens, right? So we put the TEC in the hands of the projects, and we'll have a boost, a voting boost for people who are holding TEC, for people who are have acquired an NFT certificate based on learning or community contributions, and there'll be, I guess, an additional boost in form of praise, right? So 3 elements that we can include in the loop. Now, our future vision, of course, is that we integrate TEC in many more steps, like in the grant curation. So let me take my notes, because we talked about it a lot and now I have to check. Yes, so the voting boosts from TEC Health. So we've integrated TEC, high quality grant curations. Students donate, not quadratic funding is about you get community contributions, donations, and then based on that, additional matching funds will be put on top. And today, or the usual way Gitcoin works, you can send any token. In the future, it might be you can send TEC tokens, another driver for TC demand and get TC in the loop. Then matching funds converted to TEC, high quality grant projects, recipients receive funding in TEC. That's what we are aiming for even in the first pilot. And scholarship funding paid in TEC to students. And NFTs to be paid in TEC. So these are all examples where we are pretty close to have TEC in the loop. And there might be even more. The total idea is the more reasons we can create for buying TEC and using TEC and even selling TEC will capture the value, because we have a growing token value, and we have a growth of the pool due to the entry and exit fees. And this is then nurturing our community, while the TEC is a means of exchange or a signal of information that we can integrate in the various forms of value flows that we have. And with the AI, we'll have even more.
Yeah, I would just add that, you could think of the token engineering grants rounds as like our first steps in actually trying to put these practices in place here in the TEC, and let's figure this out and like really learn how to do this ourselves, so that when this AI opportunity starts to take hold, assuming we can figure this out, we really have some experience in doing that, and then we can actually do that for that, because that's the real value opportunity, is capturing the value flows there. The Gitcoin grant stuff, I think, is more, it's not going to be huge token utility, but it'll be something, and it will help us to prove that we can do this. Does that make sense, Nate? Oh,
Yeah, it
oh,
does.
yeah,
And
there
I think that's really awesome. Yeah. Appreciate you clarifying that, both of you. Thank you.
Okay. Is there any last question or comment on this before we start to wrap up? Okay. Well, hey, Stefan and Rohan, thank you both for coming. It's really exciting. And Angela, I'm hoping you can stick around just for a little bit. There's just like a little bit of the next part of the call that would be great to have you here, but I want to respect your time. But Stefan and Rohan, thank you so much for coming on this. And I hope that this is the beginning of seeing you guys pretty regularly. I mean, you both seem to be very interested and have a lot to add to this. So, yeah. All right. Okay, and you're both welcome to stick around for the rest of the call. If the rest of the call becomes more, this is like a regular weekly call. So this is kind of where this is the coordination team's call. So it's open to anybody, and we do have people just coming in all the time to just kind of hang out. So you're welcome to stay.
No, I would have loved to stay, but I have an interview to prepare for, so I have to go. Yeah.
Sure thing.
Thank you.
Sure thing.
Lovely to be here. Yeah.
Yeah. Excited to meet you.
Thanks for joining,
Yeah.
Rohan.
Thank you.
Gideon, is this a follow-up call, or will we have a break until 7?
Well, this call is a 2-hour call. It just keeps going. So, but if you'd like to take a break, feel free to do that, and I can turn to like some intro stuff, and then maybe you want to come back in a little bit.
I just want to drop a note to the Discord to let everyone know that we got the optimism funding. That's all I want.
Yeah.
I'll be back in a minute.
Go for it.
Okay.
Awesome.
Thanks.
Yes. So exciting. Yep. Okay. Okay. Woo. So that is huge. Isaac, thank you for sharing that news. I don't know if you were on the call when I shared that with Angela, but that was a pretty exciting moment, actually. So
I was not that. I'm still smiling.
You're still traveling, okay. Okay. Whew. Here's what I was thinking for today. And honestly, I gotta admit, usually I have thought through these meetings and I have agenda, like a pretty full agenda of stuff. But this week has been super crazy, so I'm not as on it as what I would like to be. But we'll just have to kind of go with the flow today. Here's what I was thinking would be good to talk about today. One, just get some updates. And then two, dive into some aspects while Angela, in fact, actually, maybe when we can do the updates part, and then when Angela comes back, what I'm specifically looking at is the points of intersection with the academy, this airdrop piece, which we haven't really talked about a little bit. I mean, we need to talk about a little bit, and then this question of multiple grants per organization, and then the weighting of the QF, so the quantitative funding. So, and then what I was thinking that we could also do is talk a little bit about communications and community organizing over this next month, what the priorities are, how we're going to structure that. And then it looks like, Barry, you've added a section for the March budget. So does this all seem like, is there anything else that's really important that we need to jump on today? Okay. We'll do, actually, in terms of the academy, that I don't really have much to add because it's all pretty self-evident at this point. You know, it's the proposal, and it's really what we're going to talk about a little bit later. So I'll just, I won't do that. One thing I will say is that, Nate and Isaac may need your help to get the there's some questions about process and whether we really just need to push the conviction voting to DAO voting proposal through to the vote in order to actually be able to do the next vote, which is on this joint funding proposal. So I think that at the end of this call, I'd like to, maybe we can end it a little bit early and just the three of us just chat about taking care of that and doing that and moving that forward. So that's one thing that I think is really important. And please, if you can, Isaac, I don't know when are you're going to be getting on a plane soon, right?
Yeah, the flight is scheduled for 2 p.m. Local time, which is right at the end of this meeting.
Okay. Okay, so while other people are doing some updates, I'm going to just check on one thing. There's some conversations that are going on. If you guys can all kind of like keep this going, and you know, Isaac, maybe you can give an update on the grants program. I'll share my screen here real quick. One thing that I mentioned, but our Twitter is really on fire right now. It's pretty exciting. That tweet has gotten, we're almost up to 10,000 views on that tweet. So that's pretty damn good.
Your MetaMask
That's pretty damn.
is-
Yeah, thanks. Okay, I'm just gonna stop. Is it still? Why is it still doing that? Okay, hold on.
Yeah.
There you go. Okay. And it's still, is it still showing?
Yep.
Yep. Okay,
Your
that's fine.
MetaMask is showing, sir.
Yes. How embarrassing. Good thing that it was just that opening screen. Okay, so although there's not that much there. So if you can provide the if you guys can just keep going, maybe Isaac, you can do the grants program, and I'll be right back. I'm just going to check on something that related to this funding proposal.
Yeah, sure. Sure. The grants program, pretty quick. Nothing with. There's not like an immediate, like an important update. But more than anything, we are. This is the week to get everything done right. So there's still a few unknowns, to be honest. We like until we actually get our hands in the protocol. There's some things that I'm like a bit nervous about that I just don't know how they're going to play out. Um, but I'm honestly quite optimistic about how it's going to play out. Um, Let me see what else that may be important. Last week, this week on Tuesday, we did a quick round of brainstorming to get some information, some projects or individuals to reach out to, and I'll be sharing a document that has like a more of a criteria and something more formal. Hopefully early next week, maybe even tomorrow, and so that we can start reaching out to people like right away because we are honestly tight on time. Gitcoin is going to present to formally announce the round this Monday, and I wouldn't want us to fall behind. What else? Oh, the proposal passed. I executed it this morning, and I don't know if there's anything new, or if there's any question or comment, please let me know. I know I have a few messages in my DMs. I'll check them in a bit.
Yeah, I was going to ask Inti or Isaac. Do you think it would be a good idea to have kind of a hack session or a work session for maybe beginning of next week or end of this week to really kind of knock out some of the documentation and just kind of the flow of how this grant protocol will work once we get our hands on it, just to kind of get that under our belt.
Yeah, I was thinking for next week, ideally I would have, for as soon as possible, hopefully Tuesday, I would have like all documents necessary at least, advanced enough. I have some drafts already. And they also shared with me link to, I'm not sure if that's like the production interface, but to one interface to operate rounds. So I want to this weekend I want to play with it, see what's up, see if that's the actual interface, and then next week come together, show all of you guys the interface, the documentation, all of that, nail it down, and just keep going with that.
So let me interject one thing here. We're just trying to juggle some logistical issues. I think that while Angela is here, we should shift over to talk about some of these points of connection between the grants program and the academy. And then the other thing is, Isaac, there's just some real urgency in getting that proposal up on DAO voting. Are you able to do that on your laptop from where you are?
Yeah. In a bit, I'm right now in the taxi on my way to the airport. But once I get there, I can put that up.
I think it's important to do that, just so that, yeah, we don't get stuck. And when will you be back home? Like, when will you be back online?
It's like a 2-3 hour flight, so probably in 4 or 5 hours.
Okay. So yeah, if you can do that, let's do this next section while you're in the taxi, and we can talk about this, and then if you can hop off and get that posted up there, I think that would be good. Okay. And then we'll come back later to talk about get the other updates. So let's talk about points of intersection between the grants program and the academy. One thing that I don't know if you all noticed this, but that is part of the proposal is this idea of doing an airdrop of TEC to the academy students and graduates. And Angela, we haven't we haven't finalized on that, whether we talked about two options. One is just for the holders of the NFT proofs, and the other is to broaden it out a little bit more as a way to get more of the students to update their profiles. Have you had any thoughts since then?
Question to me?
Sorry, yeah,
Okay.
I was asking you, yeah.
Okay, good. So number one, for any airdrop, we need wallet addresses, right? So this is basically the link. And we have wallet addresses of those students who already have earned and minted an NFT. We just pulled the list today, and I haven't had the chance to take a look at the numbers. What we know is that 770 NFTs have been minted so far. However, some wallets hold more than one NFT. It can be maximum 6 or even 7. So we would have to check. Now, what we could do additionally is to say, okay, we encourage people to register a wallet address to their TE Academy profile, even if they haven't minted any NFTs yet, just to, how should I say, complete their profile. And I guess this is something here we should consider the following questions. Number one, Sybil attacks. So we shouldn't encourage people to open an account at TE Academy and register a wallet address just for the sake of receiving an airdrop. Okay, so we could say if you, all accounts that have been set up until this date, maybe today, and registered a wallet address can receive an airdrop. And this would most likely increase the number of people we have on board, even though I think the next open question is, should all have the same, should all receive the same amount, or should there be a differentiation? I guess we should strategically be aware of, okay, are we rewarding knowledge and expertise, or are we rewarding with the boosts, are we rewarding holding TC? And from there go to the next question, how much should the different accounts receive? Should it be an equal amount? Should it be different? Do we grant an additional reward for completing a minimum one module of the course, etc.? This is just inspiration. I just mentioned it. I think it's up to you guys to decide. And also what we should keep in mind is it takes time. So usually once we make an announcement, we give it minimum 2 weeks for the students to react. It takes a while until the information lands. It takes a while until they take action. It takes a while until we then have the final results. And so meaning, yeah, please take this into account. It needs a proper announcement, because I also want to avoid that this is made in a rush. Many people miss the information and then we have the opposite result. They are frustrated because if I knew, and I for example, I invested so much time at TE Academy as a study group host, and now I missed the 3-day deadline, and I don't get anything.
Okay, thanks for that background. And just so everybody's, I don't know if everybody's had a chance to read the full proposal, but the idea here is doing a relatively small airdrop. We have 3,000 budgeted for miscellaneous in this proposal, and so I wouldn't anticipate using all of that for this. But we just need to figure out what the right amount is. But the idea is just to make it very easy for all students to be able to vote at least minimally with like some TEC and participate in this this round. So I'll tell you my take on this, and then it'd be great to hear other people's thoughts. My take is that we could use the airdrop as a way to stimulate participation in the round. And I think as such, I would encourage us to not have it be a whole bunch, but to basically act as a stimulus for people to update their profiles and provide wallet addresses. And definitely set a date. Maybe it's today. Is like you have to have had an account open by today, and then figure out how many of those people we have, and then do the airdrop to all of those folks, and then use so that's really just more of like an incentive to get people who are part of the existing Academy community up and going in this round, but don't rely on that as a signal of expertise. The NFT proofs are the signal of expertise. Those are my thoughts. So I'd like to hear other people's thoughts.
Yeah, I think it's a really awesome idea. I think it'd be really interesting to see how this plays out. I do echo the concerns that Angela has brought up in terms of communication and civil protections, because the airdrops can lead to really great synergy within a community, but can also tear it apart. I look at kind of like the safe airdrop and how messy that became because of poor communication and not a lot of people knew what was going on, and it ended up causing much more problems in the long term. So I think this is something that we really have to, the process has to be nailed down. But in terms of airdrops, I think that, the students, yeah, I think there probably should be kind of a scale for it. I would really like to see I don't know, if you have a designation for NFTs for those who have volunteered to operate study groups, who have been kind of, working really hard on behalf of other students, having kind of an increased airdrop for those individuals and those participants. But I do think there's some categorization that could be had for this. And, for those who have completed the entire TE fundamentals course, it'd be really interesting to have, I don't know, the funds that we have in our laser tag, the TEC tokens that we have in our laser tag, to kind of be an additional reward for those individuals as well. I think that people who have taken it seriously and have been excited to go through this program, I think they should definitely have a lot of say in this grants program, and the timing of this is really, really awesome. So I think this is a good idea. I think the communication aspect is something that I'll kind of echo over and over again, because it is really, really important when it comes to airdrops. So yeah.
Yeah, when it comes to the airdrops and the voting boost, I think my expectation is that this additional, okay, your voice matters, and also ideally give a number of the boosts. So just imagine if we say, if you've completed the full TE Fundamentals course, you'll get a 100% boost. This is a strong signal for we appreciate your expertise in curating this round, and I think it will drive a lot of activity in contributions.
I have some comments as well. I think first, I think it's important to have in mind how the token. So because usually airdrops are either first distributions of tokens or inflation. The TC is hard money, so it's like more complicated, and we would have to do this right, because we probably have just one shot, let's say, because otherwise we would probably have to keep buying TC back, and well, we'll have to see. The other thing about airdrops is that they're good for like momentum, but I'm not sure they are the best on the long run. I'm thinking if there may be a way to have like a continuous program where each month a small set of people, I don't know how much, 10, 20, or even less, depending on the distribute each month, but it's more intentional, and we make sure, like a conversion program, we make sure to have those people go through a process where they get that TEC, and we are sure that they are like, sort of aligned and aware and all of that, and hopefully they after that they can really stay. Otherwise, we are risking giving hard money to to people that may not even bother it, or that may sell it right away.
Yeah, I think we hold that risk no matter what. I would like to see, like, even if we're doing a small amount of TEC tokens, just to see how, what we would consider a value aligned constituency or a group of people react to it. How many people sell off into the bonding curve, how many people use it to actually for their boost, and donate additional funds to it. I think we can learn a lot from this type of airdrop as well. So I think that the small risks that we take for this kind of initial airdrop would be worth it to just kind of get a better understanding of the interests people have, and especially the grant program.
Hey, Angela, did you have, I'm sorry, I can't remember what you said. I know this is not a number that you have off the top of your head, but it would be helpful for all of us to kind of come up with an estimate of how many people we think that we could motivate or incentivize to register their wallets. Like, well, how many total accounts are there? I think you said there's a couple thousand. Is that right?
Yeah, we have more than 2,000 accounts at the moment, and hard to say. If we send out, if we have 2 weeks for people, so again, similar text, so we say anyone who had an account by this date and registers a wallet receives an airdrop, and then we should also, I guess, talk about the amount. Up to you guys. I think we could land at, I don't have the current number with holding an NFT. This is probably, maybe we could have 500 more. Not sure. Hard to say. We never tried.
I have one quick question. Sorry. Is more than anything about timing? Is this airdrop idea supposed to be around or like rely on the grants program? It's like the intention is to boost the grants program. Is that what I'm hearing?
This was the original idea. So the original idea was or at least on my end, maybe Gideon, feel free to add. But on my end, it was like, okay, how can we encourage the TE Academy community to take part in the Gitcoin grants round? Because I think there are minimum two metrics for success. One is have amazing proposals in the round, so high quality proposals, and the other one is have many contributors supporting the various projects. It would be vice versa. It would be sad to have only 3 projects, and it would be sad to only have 50 contributors voting. And to increase this number, we thought about these 2 measures. Number 1, the NFT boosts, and number 2, putting as an opportunity to put TEC in the hands of the owners and A, boost, and B, of course, encourage them to spend their TEC in oh no, TEC can't be used in the contribution, so it would be only a boost. It's basically feel ownership. Again, we can't draw from prior cases. We don't know what's actually decisive for their participation. Is it the project? Is it the NFT boost? Is it TEC? We don't know.
Well, I just like to manage expectations. I think it's important. If we can make the airdrop, that's totally fine. But I think we have to be very careful with communications, because we are not 100% sure yet we are going to be able to do the boost while we haven't promoted it in any way. We are like,
this is important. Yeah.
We suppose that we'll be able to do it. We're like 90+% sure, but unless we play with the protocol, I don't feel comfortable like saying it out loud. You know what I'm saying right now?
And when would you be confident to say?
I'm hoping next week.
Okay. But we will certainly have some grants round run time to spread the word if we can have the boost.
I hope so.
Yeah. I guess it would just increase participation. And if it's an option, I would be definitely open to support it. It's an offer from our side. So I guess final decision up to you.
Yeah, I think that this, we have, so there are a lot of moving pieces here for sure. If this is something that we can just basically set some policy. So Isaac, if you can get a little bit more clarity from the Gitcoin folks about this specific thing, we can also, it's not going to kill us to do a one-time airdrop to the Academy. And if it doesn't work out, let me put it this way. If it doesn't work out, we've just basically spent like maybe 1,000 DAI on this. And, with the current TEC price, which is around 58 or something like that, we'd be able to get, even if we just got like 2 to 4 TEC to people, it's not going to be anything that people are going to make a lot of money on. Like, that's not what this is about at all. It's really just for voting boost. And that is what the quadratic funding is about. Like, if you really look at, like, from what I've heard from talking to Griff and others, most of the people who are doing, if you look at the actual size of the gifts that they're making, they're pretty small. So that's what we're really trying to do, is get participation up.
Yeah. I mean, I'm 100% on board. I just wanted to have expectations right, because there's other things moving, and we still don't know what other things did anyway. But if we can do it, like 100%.
Stefan, were you going to say something?
Yeah. If I may, as I try to understand the purpose of the airdrop, and with all what you were saying, I understand that maybe we need 2 dates. Now, just today for the snapshot of the already existing account, and I noticed that only the account will the full information will be eligible for the airdrop at another date, so that the people could complete the account. And then yes, the policy to how to distribute the airdrop, depending of the number of NFT and so on, that's really a good question. I don't have any clues on that.
Yeah, it's a good point. There's 2 dates that we're really are concerned about here. One is like, are you registered with the Academy? And that should be today, just to like close the loop on potential. So I don't know. I'm not as worried about like the not that many people are going to be that motivated to do a Sybil attack just for something like this. But yeah, close it today. And then your second point is, and by X date, you have to have the wallet registered with us. I think that's important. Let's move on. I think we have enough here. I'm just trying to get this on the list of things, Isaac, for you to like add to what I think we have the options here, and so just add this on. We're taking notes, so you can come back to these notes.
Who's going to be responsible for taking the snapshot that we currently have, or do we need to take a snapshot, or is it just going to be based off of NFT possessions and account registration?
I would say that we add this to a project, basically a task. We need to basically set up a task around this airdrop. So, Isaac, can we do that? Can you do that tomorrow?
You mean like the airdrop as part of the project, right?
Yeah,
Sorry,
yeah.
David.
It's just like this is just one more of the tasks we've got to figure out, and then we'll have to assign an owner to it on the TEC side.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so that's the first piece, and then the second piece is about multiple grants per organization. I also want to make space for you, Isaac. You're going to need some time to actually put that proposal into Dow voting right now before you get on that plane. So I don't know how much time you need for that.
To put the proposal up?
What's that?
You mean time to put the proposal up?
To put the Dow voting, the conviction voting, Dow voting proposal up.
Should be pretty quick. Yeah.
Okay. I just don't want you to forget that. So, okay. So this next question is about we had talked. A couple of you have raised this question, this concern about making sure that we don't make this program vulnerable to two risks. One is the perception that it's somehow captured, and that either the TEC or the Academy are using it to push just our own funding projects. And then the other is, hey, there's a potential for some type of attack if one organization, not even an attack, it's just dominance. If one organization can submit multiple grants, if the Academy were to be able to submit multiple grants, then that makes it hard for us to say no to other organizations who might want to do the same thing. So I mentioned this to Angela on a call this morning, and I'll just summarize really quickly what she said, and then Angela, I would invite you to add some more. Basically, there are two things that the Academy would like to be able to propose. One is there's a boot camp project that they would like to have as a grant opportunity, and the other is scholarships for the Academy. So what I said when we were talking is like, okay, well, let's see if we can brainstorm today about a way to do that still kind of like allows us to. So is there a way where the Academy could just have one of those, and then we figure out another way to support the other one? Maybe as a joint project or something like that. Angela, would you like to add anything to that?
Yeah, I just want to add some more details and our reasoning about it, and then again, up to you to decide. So the bootcamp idea is we have, and Stefan was part of this conversation with ECC. Thank you, Stefan, again. ECC confirmed that the Academy will be able to run a full day of program about token engineering. So not we are curating the talks, but we can shape a full day of token engineering program at ECC. So it's just giving us so much visibility. And since then, of course, we'll invite our whole global community to come to Paris in July. We were thinking of, why don't we just take this chance to drum up the community for a barcamp? Barcamp format is like, there's no pre-designed talks. We have several spaces and an open invitation for anyone to pitch a workshop, and the audience, the people attending, decide what workshop they want to participate in, or talk, conversation, discussion, and this way have a really awesome gathering in Paris this year. Now, of course, again, this is something that needs funding. It's also a great community effort, I think, and that's why we would like to propose this as a grants project at the Gitcoin round. And the second one is scholarships, meaning we invite the community to donate to enable other students to get their NFT certificates for free. We know that many of them would appreciate support, and for both things, it's actually not only, or not in the first place, that we hope to acquire a lot of funds, we rather think this will pull attention to participate in the grants round. And if people want to support scholarship, other students, they might take a look at the other grants and support them as well. So I hope that we can get an equivalent of the funds spent to our projects to other projects, just because we are driving attention to the whole program. But again, we accept any policies you might set up.
So the question is, go ahead. Who was that?
Go ahead.
Isaac? Go ahead, Isaac.
Well, I was going to say that honestly, this is probably the hardest part about the grants program. And I think it's more about how, like, the trick for every project that wants to apply for this round is going to be to I guess be good with the framing of the project. That's probably going to be the most important part, because honestly, what we need to avoid in any circumstance is having every project sort of put up a grant for every sub project they have, because then it gets very messy. Now the question is, how do we solve that? And that's something I honestly don't have the answer to right now. So in other cases, like what I've seen in Gitcoin, for example, is that projects usually just just frame it differently. Maybe it's not like the academy scholarships and academy in TCC. Maybe there's another way to call the project that can be, more of like in a collaboration setting and things like that, which may be more appropriate or more like cool to go behind the requirements. Like, for example, I know in Gitcoin, OneHive, in Aragon, in CatCat had multiple proposals. But for example, OneHive had one for gardens for conviction voting, and then they had one which was a collaboration between Aragon and other parties to develop conviction voting. And the framing was really important, because then it was very clear and what was the funding for. You know what I'm saying? So that
we could also. Oh, sorry. We could also shape this, Stefan. We might discuss it. We could also shape it as an initiative from the French study group.
If that's the way to resolve the difficulties, yeah.
And we could make it. I'm thinking we could make it two ways. One would be, for example, the scholarship grants. That could be even wide level, let's say. So maybe it's even the TEC's scholarship grants. But honestly, right now the only education program for the engineering is academy, so that's like the same. And then the other option is just as you say, put the Paris stuff on another project.
Okay, just maybe this is a cool idea with the scholarships. I just want to give you the full picture. So of course it could also be TEC puts up a proposal to the people and say, how many students should we support with scholarships? And it's not, the TE Academy is not involved in any of the efforts here. Just want to highlight that at the moment we are forming a scholarship committee at the TE Academy to make sure we have a good selection process for scholarships, because we expect this will be a revenue stream or a funding stream that we'll have from other third parties, not only from the TEC. So organizations who want to support students in studying token engineering. Okay, That's why we have this committee and want to create a transparent and fair access and really smart selection process for the scholarships. And then, probably you should take this into account, since, I mean, you could also say we select the people who receive the scholarship, whatever. So I'm open to discuss opportunities as you might find them suitable.
So one option would be to do this idea of a TEC scholarship, but then have, especially in the early days, that what we're doing is partnering together to basically have the committee who's defining that be, it would be appropriate to make that be, primarily the academy, its existing scholarship committee. And maybe we have like one or two people who are in both communities participating in that. But that way, Angela, you could then in the future, if you wanted to just have that same group of people form another committee that's not just about the TEC, not about this particular grant. It could be, you have the ability to do both.
Exactly. And it could be even, why do I say this? It's not that I want to enforce this, that the selection, if the scholarships come from TEC, that I want to enforce our committee. I'm personally not a member of it. We have selected people who are in different communities around the globe and know their peers. And they are super engaged now in finding criteria, build a transparent process. And this would have been the first case. And I just want to make sure they are not discouraged by the fact that they'll be ignored in the first case of scholarship. So we have just be aware of that and handle this in some way.
Yeah. Okay. I think we have enough here that we can, we'll figure this out. Like there's a path here.
Yeah.
So I think that we should probably move on to some of the other topics. The weighting of the quantitative funding, like the variables and the spreadsheet and stuff like that, that can wait until later. We don't have to sort that out. So, Angela, you probably have a bunch of stuff that you would like to do given this news from about your funding. So, from Optimism. So, if you,
I only have a final question.
Mhm.
I remember that civil attacks and making sure that the quantitative voting can't be attacked was a big thing for Gitcoin's credibility. Do they have measures in place to avoid that any grants round is hijacked?
looks like they definitely do. And Isaac just dropped off. Oh, I need to talk to him real quick because Nate. Actually, Angela, do you mind if we come back to this a little bit later? Because this whole question of this voting around the DAO voting, we've got to sort this out real quick.
No problem. So I just wanted to raise my hand because it would be sad in case we have an attack. It just reduces trust in this whole endeavor or hurts trust, and just wanted to bring your attention to it. It's probably solved because Gitcoin is aware of this problem. I just wanted to make sure we don't miss it.
Yeah, I'm not sure
Yeah.
if the Gitcoin passport aspect of it still applies with the Allo protocol, but I do think that was a big part of their kind of civil resistance. But
I mean, they had machine learning plus a human evaluation process plus passport.
Yeah.
And yeah.
I think that might be something NT would know more about.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if they extend that offerings to the Allo protocol.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I know that this is something that this was the passport stuff was definitely a part of the alpha rounds. In fact, the problem was more that was failing, like people were not able to register and stuff like that. So that's a big part of it. I know that that's a big part of it. the question of like, well, I'm assuming they would not be pushing this out right now if this were a big vulnerability. But yeah, we can follow up on that for sure. It's definitely a key problem that we've got to have an answer for. So yeah.
And by the way, the more boost we put on top of NFTs and TEC, the easier it will be, because then we can control the wallets who come on board for the contributions. This is actually also a measure to reduce the impact of civil attacks. Okay, but
yeah, that's true. That's a good point. That's a really good point, actually. Yeah. Okay.
Good. You have to jump off. Just stay in touch via Discord and let me know whatever you need, and I'll take now a snapshot of the accounts.
Awesome. Thank you.
Okay.
And I'll talk to you tomorrow, Angela, and we're going to jump onto some other stuff. Stefan, you're welcome to stay. So thank you, Angela.
Thanks everyone for the AMA session today. Stefan, thanks for joining, and talk soon.
Okay, see you.
Thanks, Angela.
Okay, so Isaac and Nate, I think. Yeah, go ahead.
I have to drop just to check in. Did I miss anything important, or something the last of the conversation about the grants?
I'll fill you in on that later.
Okay.
You and I and Nate need to talk about this conviction voting thing. So what I'm going to suggest is that rather than dragging everybody into that, we only have 20 minutes left. And I think, Bear, so the comms and community organizing piece, that can wait until next week. Bear, is there any urgent thing? We're probably not going to have time to do the full thing. What can we do async with the March budget?
Yeah, so we can keep it pretty simple, I think. I was able to get everyone's like project allocations for each of them for March, so I think we should be good now. I'll share the link again for the budget for people to look at it and just confirm. So the only thing would be that, like we're at the end of the month, compensations should happen soon. So if each of the project managers for each of the projects could come up with the individual percentages allocation for the different participants of the projects, that'd be great. And just like send me a DM or on the chat or whatever with that percentage, so we can do the payments accordingly. That'd be the only thing.
Okay, excellent. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to wrap this call up, and then Nate and Isaac, can I get on a separate call with you? And Isaac, I know you got to move quickly, but
yeah, sure. I mean, from time to time have to disconnect while I go through all the process, but yeah, 100%.
Okay, cool. All right, so everybody, hey, thanks for hanging in there. This is an unusual call today, but we really wanted to open it up for the AMA in the beginning, and as a result, we met two new cool people. So Rohan, who's not here, and Stefan. Really nice to meet you, and I'm looking forward to working with you. It sounds like there's a lot of overlapping interests.
Thank you very much for having us.
Yeah. Okay, everybody. Take care, and we'll see you next week.
See you later, everybody. Thanks. Take care.
Thank you.